awesome guest on Sundays with Subscribers this week. Her name is Rachael Savage. She is a Seattle business owner, and she's just so cool. Like, can I just be like her when I grow up? She has lived in Seattle for a long time, operated a business on Capitol Hill for a long time, and she is fed up. That's the only way to put it. She has watched some of the worst policies of progressive Seattle deteriorate a neighborhood she loves and a city she loves. And she is not only now speaking up, but she is considering maybe herself a run for public office. This segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action by going to future42.org. So I want to play this clip from our interview with Rachael Savage from the Sunday Show. Again, she's, especially in the last 5 years, this is someone who for most of her life has supported liberal policies. I mean, I don't think that you live and run a business on Capitol Hill without maybe being a little bit liberal or progressive. There's certainly some outliers. But she's been kind of more in line with the prevailing political view in Seattle for much of her life. And then she's operating this retail shop on Capitol Hill. And what does she see outside her doors? She sees the drug abuse. She sees the crime. She's seen the riots, Chaz and Chop and all of those things. And that was when she made the connection and came to the realization that all these terrible things that are happening are the result of these progressive policies that up until now, she herself had supported. What's it been like to be a Capitol Hill business owner?
It's hell.
Wow.
It's gotten so bad. I love Capitol Hill. I love Seattle. I love the city so much. And what I've seen happen to our city, I actually can't believe it's happening. Mm-hmm. I did not know that a city could degenerate so quickly. I had no idea. And so it's been disturbing. It's been horrifying. It's been scary. I'm scared. I'm scared for my business. I'm scared for all the other businesses around. I'm actually afraid for everyone in the neighborhood. The citizens, the business owners, the mentally ill, the drug addicted, everybody.
Yeah, it's always been, Capitol Hill's always been kind of a quirky neighborhood, right? There's always been sort of a level of, street disorder on Capitol Hill. But when did you start to realize that this is beyond any sort of acceptable level?
Well, it's the fentanyl. And so I noticed it, I would say, before the pandemic, where the drugs just started getting harder. You could just see it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I've noticed is the just open air drug use. Just people using right out in the open, right in front of the grocery store, on the sidewalk, everywhere. And no one is doing anything about it. And so I think that we're in the middle of a fentanyl epidemic, for sure, and a severe, chronically mentally ill epidemic as well. And both of those things together, with people not getting the care they need, is it's destroying the neighborhood.
Yeah. It's a pretty progressive neighborhood. I mean, Capitol Hill had Shama Sawant as a right. council member for 3 terms. And so, of all the neighborhoods in Seattle, that is certainly one that has supported the types of hands-off policies when it comes to homeless encampments, when it comes to substance abuse and all of those things. But, I mean, how do residents up there and business owners actually feel about what the result of those policies has been?
Well, that's where it gets interesting because I work with the public. So people talk to me every single day, and people are afraid to speak their mind. Mm. They are afraid to say how they really feel. So I notice that people, they're nervous about talking. But one of the big things at the shop that opens the conversation is I don't take cash right now. Why? Because it's a no cash on hand kind of a deal in Capitol Hill right now. For safety, right? And so people say, oh, you don't take cash. And then we get into the conversation. And I ask people, have you ever seen it this bad? Because I know it has never been this bad. Yeah. Sometimes people say, oh, it's the city. Oh, it's this always been. No. It's never been this bad. And they start to tell me how they really feel about it. Because I think we can do better. Yeah. I know we can do better. And when I tell people that, it's interesting to watch them because the light goes on and they say, yeah, we can do better. But they're afraid of what that means. Yeah. It means we need more conservative leadership. Well, we need new leadership. There's no doubt about it because this is the result of the progressive leadership.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see somebody kind of wake up like that and go all in. She's trying to kind of start this citizen uprising through something called Savage Citizens. You could check it out, savagecitizens.com, and watch our full interview with Rachael Savage by becoming a subscriber, undividedpod.com. You can find a link to that. But I think, one of the things I disagreed with her about in the interview is this assertion that we need more conservative leadership in Seattle. Look, we're a long way off in Seattle from having any sort of semblance of conservatism. I know we have a Republican city attorney, but she was a Republican for like 5 minutes before she ran for city attorney. I don't think it has to be, and it shouldn't be characterized as a conservative value to want to help the homeless and like get the homeless off the streets and not let people overdose on drugs out in broad daylight in the alcove of the business. It's kind of sad, isn't it? That that's characterized as a conservative. Like we need a conservative to do that. I mean, I think she's right in the sense that only conservatives seem to be talking about how what's happening right now isn't working. But like, this is just common sense. You look at what's happening, that's not working. Whatever you're doing to deal with homelessness is not working. Whatever, the steps you've made to essentially decriminalize drugs and take this hands-off approach, that's not working. More people are dying. More people are homeless. The crime issue is worse. As she said, it's hell to run a business. So you're telling me we really can't find some common sense Democrats who are willing to run for office, who will say those things and do those things? Now, she did mention in the interview, she's considering a run for mayor. Now, but she'd run as a Republican. I mean, she came full circle. She went from like liberal Capitol Hill business owner to voted for Donald Trump and says if she ran for mayor, she'd do it as a Republican. Now, I think it would be very, very hard to win branding yourself as a Republican in the city of Seattle. Not impossible. Ann Davison did it. But it's kind of beyond that. It's like, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a libertarian or a socialist. I don't care what label you put on yourself. I care about your ideas. And I care about whether those ideas are going to be effective, and if they're not, whether you're willing to change course. What we're seeing right now is a political class that is completely unwilling to change course, even with ample evidence of the failure of their policies. And that should be unforgivable. Whether it's Republicans who are that stubborn, Democrats who are that stubborn, or any other political party that is that stubborn, where they see that their policies are quite literally killing people and they will not change course. Those are people who don't deserve to be in elected office, regardless of the letter next to their name. So let's find people who are willing to speak simple truths. This is not working. We see it with our own eyes. Like, let's do better, and are willing to act on those simple truths and change course, whoever they may be. That segment was brought to you in partnership with our friends at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org.